Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I'm here to start some new shows, and you might notice the plural there, and we're about to talk about it. So, as some or all of you may know, Symphogear ended a few weeks ago, and I spent more time than I probably should have in a sort of state of mourning, just like there's no Symphogear anymore, what do? And then sort of helplessly going back to previous seasons and watching portions of episodes and just being like, oh, I love you. But eventually, after a couple of weeks of that, I decided that it was time to get off my lazy, somewhat depressed, morning, Symphogear loving, stupid ass, and look for something to replace it. So I threw a bunch of shows into a poll, and these are shows from all different varieties. Some of them are kind of things that have been recommended alongside Symphogear, or been put forth as like, oh, maybe this would be nice as a thing that would be a good replacement. But I wasn't super into like trying to find something that would fill the void that is Symphogear, because I don't think it's possible. 5 seasons of amazing original song-based anime and just like the insanity that the whole journey was, there's just no way to replace it, and there's no point in trying to. So instead, I just threw together a bunch of shows that I thought people would want to see, and shows that I was at least a little bit interested in. And what happened in this poll was definitely interesting. I put up the poll about a week ago and I let it sit, let it simmer, let it cook for about a week, letting people vote on it. Just sort of watching from the sidelines as people got into discussions about what they should vote on. Sometimes those discussions got really heated. It was interesting. It was interesting, but pretty clearly, two shows began to pull out to the front, and they were und Panzer and Shoujo Kageki Review Starlight. One would pull ahead by a handful of votes, the other one would catch up and then pull ahead by a couple of votes, back and forth and back and forth. And those two led the pack until last night at about 12:30 a.m., so a little bit about like half an hour past midnight. I was supposed to do it at midnight, I just didn't look at the time. But about 12:30 I went ahead and I looked at the poll and took a screenshot of it, and I just went, all right, that's it. It's closed. There's no way to like close a poll on Patreon without deleting it. It's kind of bullshit. But anyway, I took a screenshot of it. I posted it in my Discord and I was like, this is the results that we're going for. And the results that we got are kind of interesting. I'll put them right here. Editing me, do the thing. They're kind of interesting. You might notice something as your eyes slip along those numbers. Two of them are equal, and they're also the highest numbers. Fuck. This has never really happened before. We've never had a tie on a poll, and I don't know how much of this is legitimate and how much of it is people who are patrons just like trying to, removing their vote if it's one up, adding a vote if it's one down, trying to make sure that everything's doubled up. I know some people had thrown out jokes at the beginning of the poll's runtime that like, oh, maybe we could manipulate it so that we end up with equal votes on both of these, and then T has to watch both of them because my Discord is sadistic and hates me. No, but they love me and they love these shows, and that's why they want to watch them. So those two shows ended up tying for first place, and I'm a little bit at a loss for what to do, and I still haven't really decided what to do. There are the other shows behind them. Bungo Stray Dogs took third, and then there's sort of a pack in the 70s between Yu Yu Hakusho, Panty and Stocking, and Princess Principal. But by far, far and away, Review Starlight and Girls in Panzer are the winners. So what are we going to do? I don't really know yet, but I think that the first step is probably to watch the first episode of both shows and see what we feel about them. Because there's the chance that I'll absolutely hate one of these shows the way that I did once upon a time with Asobi Asobase, and that will make things much easier for us going forward, because I can just throw one of them away and be like, clunk, crash, 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 and just focus on the other one. But I really don't know. So we're going to have to just watch the first episodes of both of them. And I'm sorry that this little intro discussion is going on longer than it normally does. There's stuff to talk about with the polling thing. This is a weird situation for me, and I don't really know how to handle it. It's relatively similar to an extent to the way that I did polls like the first couple times that I ever did polls, which is that I would put an open poll on Polly, a site where people could post their own like things to add to the poll. And for a couple rounds around the rainbow or whatever, this was okay. It worked all right. And then I would take the top couple, like the top two, from the open polling system that I just made open to everybody, and then I would throw those two in a Patreon poll. And usually I would watch the first episodes of both of them and then let my patrons decide, like, okay, which one of these do you want to see more of? That was how we decided between, I think it was Psyche K and Shiki, and then I ended up watching Shiki anyway as like a my time late night with Teeaboo thing. And it was fun. It was good. But in this situation, both of the shows have won. So I think the only way that I can do them justice is to like just watch both of them back to back and see how we feel about them. I kind of expect that I'm gonna like both of these, although I know very little about both of them. But I kind of expect I'm gonna like both of them. And if that ends up being the case, maybe I will sacrifice what has become like the best day. I have one day where I actually have a break, and it's Thursdays now, and I love it. I love it so much. I spent all of yesterday just reading with my lights off in my room, and then sometimes going outside and reading, like, because it was a really nice day yesterday. I just spent all of yesterday reading, and then I went to bed, and it was so nice. But if I like both of these shows, maybe I'll move one of them to Thursday, and I'll keep the other one on Friday, and we'll figure out which one goes where, and we'll probably just watch both of them. So that way everybody's vote kind of counts, and it all works out okay, and all is well. And that's where I'm at in terms of what I think I'm going to do with these shows at this point. If they're both fun and I don't see a reason to not watch one of them, then I'll watch one of them on Thursday and one of them on Friday, and we'll spread it out, and I'll fill a slot without having to pull for it, and it'll be easy as pie. It'll be great. If I hate one, I'll throw it away, whatever. So, way too much talking about the polling and stuff. Let's talk about the shows themselves. The next decision to make is it fair to watch one of them before the other? Because if, I'm aware that when I watch a bunch of things back to back, I fade out by the end, right? Especially if they're analysis intensive, if there's a lot to dig into and a lot to think about, that's brain capacity, that's cycles, right? That takes it out of you, and it takes it out of me. So my decision is to watch Girls and Panzer first, and then Shoujo Kageki Review Starlight second. Reason being that I feel like Girls and Panzer is going to be a little bit of a more straightforward show, and it'll probably be fun, but there probably won't be like a ton to dig into. Whereas Review Starlight has been compared frequently to Ikuhara stuff, and that's a lot to dig into. So I'm going to just put that one to the side for the moment, and we're going to focus on Girls in Panzer. So, I did my normal thing where I look at some of the staff members and some of the things around Girls in Panzer to figure out anything that I could about it. It's coming out of Studio Actus, a relatively small anime studio that has, in its history, I went and found the wiki for it and just read through it. They were their own thing, founded by two members of two other studios. They started doing some works. They hit a kind of a successful show with this one show that they made. And then one of the main founders of them died, and then the whole company got purchased by Bandai Namco. So they are now a subsidiary of Bandai Namco Arts. Yeah. Namco? I don't know. This show in particular, I was really surprised to see who's directing it. It's Tsutomu Mizushima, who has directed a whole bunch of kids shows and done a whole lot of work on kids shows, especially Crayon Shin-chan, like a lot of work on Crayon Shin-chan. A few multi-core seasons of various sports shonen, the infamous Prison School, a lot of work on the Holic series, and one of my personal favorite shows of all time, Shirobako. Oh, okay. Well, with his vast range of directorial experience, I think he can handle whatever is about to come through the screen at me. And I think that we're probably in good hands here. There are a couple of shows where he's like a little bit iffy, but most of the work that Mizushima has worked on has been really great. And that's pretty much all I looked at. Because I didn't want to spoil myself on like the story or the way that it functions or anything, because I think I'm in an interesting and somewhat enviable position of not knowing fucking anything about Girls in Panzer. I know that there are girls, and I know that they drive tanks. That's what I've got. Like, that is what I've got. I think I've seen some GIFs, whatever you prefer, of some CG tanks in some explodey battles. I'm sure that there will be CG tanks. Great, sure, whatever. The girls are kind of chibi-esque. They remind me a little bit of like the Girls Last Tour girls, but a little bit less hyper deformed. But they're cute. And so the temptation would be to say Girls in Panzer is cute girls drive tanks. I don't know if it's going to be the kind of cute girls doing cute things that I'm used to. It seems like the kind of thing that might buck that. I don't know whether that's going to be brutality and going gory with it. I kind of doubt it. It seems to be a lighthearted show. It seems like whatever kind of tank battles they're doing are some form of competition, like some sort of not sponsored, sanctioned, some sort of sanctioned event that people are familiar with and used to. I don't know whether it's school related or if it's war games or if this is a more meta level series, like almost in on a Hitalia vein, where characters embody something greater than their individual selves and are acting as like the instruments of various countries in order to fight with tanks that equal or relate to their heritage. I don't know anything. It could be a school game. It could be a special magic high school. The tanks could be real. They could be simulations. I don't know anything. So let's just watch Girls in Panzer episode 1 and find out what we can find out, and maybe we'll talk about it at the end, and hopefully it'll be good and we'll want to watch more, and then I can watch it on Thursdays. All right. In the interest of doing that, I have gone ahead and downloaded the AK Submarines RIP of all of Girls in Panzer. It's got a shite load of OVAs and extra stuff built into it that I don't really care about at the moment because we're just testing our getting our feet wet in the series, so to speak. So I grabbed the AK Submarines RIP. It's big. It's like 28 gigabytes. It's not small, but that's okay. Nice Blu-ray rip of Girls in Panzer. Sitting at 0 seconds on the first frame of the first episode. It looks like I'm in the perspective of a tank, which looks like it's CG. I can see the cannon like above me, and there seem to be other tanks, I guess, moving across a valley that we have a really nice kill box set up on. So I think whoever's there is probably pretty fucked. I'm gonna assume that one of our major characters is probably driving this tank, or this is a flashback, one or the other. Other than that, I got nothing. Let's watch Girls in Panzer episode 1 and see what we think about it. So as I said, it's 0 seconds. There will be, I should do the whole spiel because this is the first episode of a show, but anyway, there will be 2 versions of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. There will be discussion at the end of the timer-based version. If you would like to sync up your own copy of this episode so that you can like full screen it or whatever and just minimize me, if you want to sync up your own copy of this episode with the timer-based version, you are welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready because the beep beep timer to count you down to 0 will be coming at you soon. And it'll go boop, 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 beep, and it'll go red, yellow, yellow, green, and on the green light and the beep will be the first frame that the video starts, and I'll sync it up in post, and it'll be great. If you don't want to do that, you can watch the picture-in-picture version, and that's a little bit easier, and then you can jump around in the YouTube version to find discussion if you care about it. As with most poll shows, this will be part of my early access rotation, so if you want the next episode of Girls in Panzer a week early, you can get that by throwing a few bucks to me on Patreon. If you want to talk about shows like this or other shows and or want to vote in polls to determine what I watch next, you can totally do that. Again, if you throw a buck at me on Patreon, you can get into the Discord, and I don't really kick people from there, so you're basically in for life, unless you really do something horrible to piss me off. So do that if you want to. Other than that, I think we're good to go, so let's get into it. Beep beep timer goes here. Okay, so the one in the front is the Churchill. Is that why we are arranged perpendicular to them? Oh, hello. Oh, that was really cute. Oh, that whole thing was cute. Oh, the little echo that's built in there because she's speaking into the tank and it's echoing around. Oh. Oh. Oh, the whole thing is oh. Oh, that's really good. Oh, they're color coded for your convenience. I appreciate that. Oh, this is smart. Yeah, now that we're moving across it quickly, you can see the video game-esque textures. Oh, hello. Oh, hi. I gotta say, the CG is not bad looking. Okay, we've got communicators. Fuck, that's a lot of characters. God damn. Operation Sneaky. I couldn't tell who said what, okay, it was her. Ah, okay. So all but one have Tarame. The droopy eyes. Uh-oh. Okay, okay. Hey, maintaining formation. Okay, okay. Okay, this is fun. Okay. Ruh-roh. All right, and transition to present day, present time. Is this a hospital bed? No, this is just her room. But her bear is injured. Can't argue with that. And bear is about to fall out of bed. There it goes. That little cut. Hmm. Not at home anymore. She's staying in a dorm. Dorm? Question mark? And Sen Shadow. I don't know what that means. I assume it's the tank thing. So that means it's a sport? Oh, the bakery. Oh, the bear came like that. Isolated? Kind of. Or at least a new transfer. All right. Another character? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, she's kind of a goober. It's odd. She's got this balance between like meticulously organized and then Dojiko screwing things up. We saw it with the bed sheets as well. Oh, hi. Wait a second. Already knows, eh? Miho. Yay! Oh, and there it goes. Those all seem focused on something. Nobody would come here of their own volition. I just wanted to start playing the tank games, right? Oh, we got maybe bad guys. Huh, that was quick. She looked like she had twin tails. Hey. Ah. Are there, or is it in her head? Aww. Oh, here they come. Yep, twin tails. Yeah, we've definitely got a student council president type right there. Don't really have a read on Takebe yet. Uh oh. Hmm. Does she have only one glass in her glasses? She does, doesn't she? Excellent. Match cut 10:35. Hey, you okay? Aww. But why do they want her? Path of the okay. no! Probably not. It's in her blood, eh? Got a rep. And a block. Okay. Ah. Hmm. All right. Some kind of Senchato related announcement. Trying to take over the world. I don't know. She really does only have one glass. So she's a semi-parody of the Chuny like eye patch except with glasses. That's crazy. All right, we get an expository intro film. Good. Sure. With tanks. Sure. Uh, sure. Okay. Ah, falling asleep through it. There's a quirk there. Okay, there's live voiceover. I thought it was part of the video. Ah, okay. Or restart one. Who does she reminds me of the girl from Railgun, the one who's obsessed with Misaka. There's a lot of effort put into the character animation here, a lot more than I would have expected. It's kind of impressive. Des! I got a theory about who that is. Des. Hmm. Yeah, something about the explosions. All right. But she's afraid of tanks for reasons that we don't understand yet. She said she only has bad memories of tanks. Maybe she lost a family member? I don't know. Oh, well, there we go. She almost drowned in a tank, it seems. Trying to tell them that, yeah, okay. Okay. Aww, not being pushy. Aww, and they're all changing to be with her. Aww. Aww. Are you dating somebody right now? I kind of doubt it. Everybody's signing up for Senchato because the... I can't get away from it. Fuck. They're just not gonna give up. I told you what you were supposed to do. You gotta go. You're threatening expulsion? Truly. Alright. Yep. 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 It's your turn now. Sweet. Can't help but get Yui vibes from that. Oh. How much is left in the episode? 3 minutes. Okay. So we've got enough to set up whatever they're doing next. And that's it. Seems to be an all-girls school. Haven't seen a male character at all. So I don't know what the fuck she's on about. Panzer? Perhaps? Oh, they're all rusted and crap. All right. Okay. And this pullout shows a scope. Unless we're heading into a specific destination, which I don't think we are. Oh, fuck. What? What? An entire city on an aircraft carrier? A mega aircraft carrier. What? Okay, this feels like we're using the OP as the ED for the first episode, and this will be the OP from here on. Yeah, because this is an OP. Okay, so there is world beyond water world. Got it. ah. Ah. I have to say, as far as first episodes go, that was pretty lit. That was pretty fun. Okay, I don't think there's any worry that I'm gonna drop Girls in Panzer. This was pretty ridiculously fun. Wow. Give me a minute to gather my thoughts. Let me have a minute to gather my thoughts, and I'll gather some and report back. Let's see ya. All right, so I've gathered some initial thoughts about this episode. First off, an overall just take. This is really good, like shockingly good on multiple axes that don't usually end up being really good at the same time. And I'll talk about I'll elaborate a little bit. In my experience, studios made by relatively small shows made by relatively small studios have to cut corners somewhere, and I can't tell where they're cutting corners, if at all, for this show. This is the kind of show, cute girls doing cute things with tanks, where you would expect corners to be cut. If there's a heavy focus on making the tank CG stuff look really good, then there will probably be corners cut in character animation and making the characters look really good and making them inviting and relatable and fun. There might be corners cut on that front. If the character animation is really good and the 2D stuff looks great, then maybe the 3D animation won't blend with it super well, or it'll look kind of jank and wacky. Instead, we got really impressive CG stuff in the portions of the episode that contained it, and really impressive 2D stuff for the rest of the episode. Every time there's a scene with these characters where it's a close-up, there's complex facial expression going on. There's relatively difficult hair animation going. There's a lot of flow and fluidity and style and character to our characters, and that's pretty cool. It's also really helped out that they've got a pretty awesome voice cast, as far as I can tell. And on that note, I did go ahead and look up some of the characters and just check through the voice cast. Mako. I would not have picked this one. I would not have picked up on this at all. But Mako is Miku from Symphogear, as well as being Akari because it's Kayano Ai. I'm sorry, no, switch that. I'm wrong. It's Saori who's Ai Kayano. I wrote these down and I'm stupid. And And yeah, she is a different Symphogear character. I'm super wrong. Saori is Kirika. Des. So I was right there. That's kind of awesome. But yeah, Mako is Miku. Saori is Kirika. And most of the others have done a whole bunch of roles that I don't like really relate them to. I don't have something where I can grasp onto it and be like, oh, it's that character. But they all did a really good job. All their voices are nice. The little bits of characterization that are scattered throughout the episode that give me an idea that we actually understand something about these characters, it's really cool in a way that more than anything reminds me of like K-On! And that's high praise coming from me, considering how I feel about K-On! Our main girl is pretty standard as far as these things go. She seems to be in a position to be the heart of the team, which makes a lot of sense. She's a little bit clumsy and ditzy, but there's a conflict going on there because we see her carefully organizing things throughout the course of the episode, carefully organizing her desk once she gets everything together. She carefully folds up her bed sheets. She takes care, but she's naturally clumsy. We see with the thing falling out of the bed and some of the crazy stuff. And the goofy sequence with the stuff falling off the desk and just getting worse and worse and worse. It's kind of crazy, kind of a loner, and here for her own reasons, which we find out are to avoid Senshadow at all costs. She's got bad memories, bad trauma. Okay, cool. I like her. I can't exactly put a pin on why I like her, but I like her. She's likable. She's a bit of a goober, but not too much of a goober. She's goofy, but not over the top with it. Not even to the extent that somebody like Yui is goofy, where K-On's Yui is truly a ditz and a goober. But we do get scenes like this, tumbling out of bed, and the whole sequence of importance here. She reaches for the teddy bear, tumbling herself out of bed, but then she sort of recovers a little bit and still manages to slam down on the alarm clock. Right? And then immediately gets herself organized, gets her stuff together, everything's pristine and clean. I like that. The tumble and then the recovery. It could be more intentional than I would think. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of bears over there with various injuries of sorts. That's weird. I mean, it's not that weird, but it's kind of weird. All right, and then we leave home. We discover from a particular line of dialogue, she says, like, I'm not home anymore, that she has moved somewhere, which we can assume to be a dorm or an apartment or something similar. It seems to be an apartment since she's walking to school. Bakeries and stuff. She's involved. She's invested in the moment. She's a person. She's cool. But she's also standoffish. She stays away from the other girls, watches from a distance, and eventually breaks out in a smile, meaning that my initial read of being like a loner and a bit antisocial wasn't quite correct. She's just a little bit shy. And we also get to notice something that will be carried through all of the characters that we saw, I think, and we'll check, because I'm not sure. I think there are some that don't have it. The dots in the eyes. It's something that I like to pick up on. What tools do the animators have to make their characters emote? What tools are built into the character design or the character design philosophy of the overall show in order to enable emotions to come through the screen when characters are saying or thinking different things? And I think one of the great tools that animators use that is frequently used by Kyoto Animation and less frequently by certain other studios is the dots in the eyes. Specifically, in her case, the light tan dots at the bottom right-hand corners of her eyes. I'm going to call these emotion dots. I don't know what they would actually be referred to, but they're kind of the opposite of the highlights that you normally get at the top corner, which you can see in my own eyes, right? There are lights here, and you can see the highlights in my own eyes, right? And those give the impression that there's a sense of a slight depth between the actual lens of the cornea and then the layer where the iris is, and then further back the pupil. And then, so having those highlights there, along with the subtle shadow that comes from the top of the eyes, is one thing. It gives them depth and humanness. But the little color dots aren't a real thing that really occurs. They're an artistic thing. And they're a useful one because moving them around in different ways, making them larger and smaller, can give different impressions on the eyes. So I picked up on that, and I think it's pretty interesting. The other thing I picked up on, although it was a little bit earlier when we flashed through all of the characters, and I want to leave this opening sequence a little bit. I want to leave this for a little while, and we'll talk about it soon. When's the flash of all of the tank girls? We flashed through like a shite-load of tank girls, and I don't know where it is. Okay, here it is. Cool. Nice. Let's go through them. Boom. All right. Student council pres girl. One eyeglasses girl. Kind of Chuny-esque. Seemingly very earnest. I forget what she is. She seems like a secretary type character girl. All right. Girl in the middle doesn't do anything on her own. She's just sitting, letting her subordinates do things for her. Snarky. Tsurime, but large. Tareme. Talking about eye shapes again. Pointed up at the corners. Tsurime. Pointed down. Tareme. Okay. Mix and match. Tsuri and Tare. Lots of Tsuri. Holy shit. So that's another crew of some kind. Is it intentionally Nazi imagery with the wings and the hat and stuff and the blonde hair? I assume so. It's not super blatant about it, but I assume so. Okay. Seems moderately villainous. And then the character with the headband, does she keep her eye closed at all times? I think she does. I think we only see her with her eyes closed. Others, lots of Tareme. Holy shit. All of them, except for bottom right, you could make a case. Okay, so this is the Moe squad. Our girls are mostly Moe squad. The only one of them who has Tsurime is her, and she is a different archetype, so it makes sense for her. She's what you would expect from a student council president in a visual novel romance, if that makes sense. There's a term for it, and I forget what it is. It's the perfect pretty girl, but in Japanese. Perfect Japanese woman term. Yamato Nadeshiko. That's it. Ideal Japanese woman. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. That's her archetype, and that's good. That's cool. You actually look really happy. We're trying to destroy them anyway, zigzagging, blah, 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 blah. There was a line that she said that struck me as interesting, and I forget what it was. No, it was the line about Senshadow, the first line that we got about Senshadow. I don't remember where it was. This is our first engagement, happy seeing tanks in action, trying to destroy them, be sure to zigzag. And then we enter here. I forget what it was. I thought there was a line there that she said something about being excited to do Senshadow, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. Shit. But I wanted to bring it up because, I mean, unless it doesn't exist and I just manifested it out of my imagination, what we do is we set up a conflict built into this story, and it's the conflict that's resolved by the end of the story because of external pressure. She's here. She says at the beginning that she does want to do Senshadow, if I'm right, and I might not be, that she does want to do it. We find out very quickly into the actual episode that she does not want to do it. And conflict. How is she going to turn to wanting to do it and enjoying herself? Don't know. It's going to have something to do with the group of girls, though. And we meet her, and she does the tumbly roll out of bed. We get our first taste of what the 2D animation looks like. Sort of with a spring in her step, bounds down the street, checking into windows, looking around, taking an active interest in things. She's interested and cool, and that makes her interesting. She's also a goober and alone. So she's starting to pack up her shit, and it just keeps falling, and it just goes horribly. Eventually, she gets it all together and sets it out very neatly, as she intends. And then she's approached by these two who want to eat lunch with her, and they make the overture, which is really nice. That's cool. And we got ourselves a little standoff. Let's have lunch. We just want to talk. It's pretty cool. All right, so we end up with the lunch thing, and she starts dropping, what's her name? That's Takebe. She starts dropping information about herself and dropping her quirk, which is that she relates almost everything to, like, badly written romantic melodrama. I'm not sure what it's exactly supposed to be. I assume that she's supposed to fit a form of Fujoshi, but, She just relates everything to that and is continuously talking about the boyfriend that she very clearly doesn't have, I think, given that there are no guys around. Also, that our entire city is on the waves. What? Okay, whatever. Get our ominous picture of this character, the student council president girl, and her two minions. The chair, the looming, the bright screen behind her, the wires in the background. It all reads, I'm a supervillain. But of course, she's not a supervillain. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. But she runs this shit. She runs this school. And every shot is cleverly done. Well, not so cleverly given the size of the city that we saw, but it's done to prevent us from really noticing things like that kind of mast looking structure over there that doesn't look like normal power lines. It's kind of weird looking, but it just sort of flies by because you're not on the lookout for it. And why would you be? Who would expect that the school would be on a fucking floating island? All right, so many guys hitting on me. Yeah, she thinks everybody's hitting on her. Everything is romance. Sure. She's a bit of a goober. She seems calm and strong-willed. Absolutely. If this were Precure, she would be blue. 100%. If this were Precure, actually, we could do that pretty easily. Pink. Student council girl, blue. I mean, she's not student council girl. I gotta stop saying that. That's what I think of when I see her, though. And then the other one would be yellow. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. All right. Doing flower arrangements. Wanting to give this a try. Becoming my friends. All right. The entry of this character is lovely. They snap to attention. We see that she has only one glasses. She's a little bit of a weirdo. I like her hair, though. Okay. And then we pan down for the small one. But don't judge her by her size. And immediately I get strong vibes of Kuroko in Railgun. Because she looks fucking exactly like her. She's got very similar eyes, similar hair, similar color of hair. She's small or petite. Yeah, lots of similarities. And she's eating, I guess, dried yams. Must be. All right, so she lays down the law. Join Senshadow. But I don't wanna. All right, and then we get my favorite cut in the whole thing. Or my favorite edit, I should say, in the whole thing. Deadeyes in the hallway. Wherever it is. Cut to Deadeyes at school. It's not even redrawn. It's the exact same cell. It's great. Pop. And they start being endlessly supportive and kind of awesome. These two girls who've just like approached her out of the blue and are trying to be her friends. Hell, if this were a different type of show, I would be super suspicious of them and expecting them to like, for the other shoe to drop and for them to turn on her and be like, haha, we were only pretending to be your friends in order to bait you and then crush your dreams or something. But it's not that kind of show. They're legit and they're really cute and they're sweet. I like them a lot. They stand up for her and tell her to do her own thing and it's good. It's really good. All right, we find out some more exposition-y bits and pieces and a little bit more about Senshadow, which is important because it's not a real thing, so we have to exposit all of it. And we will choose to do so via informative, somewhat propagandistic on-screen footage. Introduction to Senshadow. It'll make you beautiful. Men will love you. You'll be super feminine by driving around in this giant diesel engine-driven war machine. Sure. Cool. Yeah. We don't know anything about the social dynamics of this society. That makes perfect sense. I got no problem with it. Sound and beautiful women in mind and body. Yes, indeed. And we have a goal. The World Senshadow Program thing. Going to be happening in Japan. Oh yeah, that's important. Japan exists. That's an important thing to take note of. Okay. But I would love to try Senshadow, but she doesn't want to try Senshadow. It's scary, and she's got bad memories. And she's so worried about telling them. Again, I can draw a parallel to K-On! First episode of K-On!, Yui gets pulled into the group, agrees to join, doesn't actually want to join, goes to tell them that she doesn't want to join, ends up joining because they're cool. But the whole tension around I don't want to do the thing is pretty common in these small group CGDCT shows, although this one definitely bucks a lot of the trends built into them. It's got a few, and one of them is initial refusal to answer the call to adventure, you could call it. If you want to relate it to a traditional Western hero's journey, you can. And this is that refusal. She's got trauma. She's got damage that she's carrying around with her, and she doesn't want to do Senchado. And her expectation is, after the conversation she's had with these two, that she's perhaps forfeiting their friendship by doing this. Their friendship seems to be founded around this idea that maybe they'll be doing Senchado together, and this could be a wedge between them. But she needn't worry, because they're the best. Also, they're sitting sharing a chair, which is really cute. And they all switch their votes to the incense ceremony, which is great. And everybody is talking about Senchado. It's taken over everybody's conversation. We are summoned. We are put in a difficult position. We stand in solidarity together. And they support her and support her and support her and push back and push back and push back. The threats come down. And finally she makes the decision for herself because they're taking her side. It's my turn now. I'll do it. I will do the thing that I don't want to do because I care about the people who will be doing it with me. And that's lovely. And they both give her a little scoop of her ice cream, and she eats it, and it's goofy, and it's cute, and I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, and then we get our setup for what's next. We got ourselves a big old junker of a tank, and the only one in the entire school, it seems, who has any kind of understanding of how the tanks actually work, and whether that's useful, is her. And I assume that this is the eponymous Panzer that we are talking about. Let me just Google what a Panzer looks like. It looks kind of close to a Panzer III, but the turret's off. I don't know what it is. That's okay. I don't know anything about tanks, so don't expect me to know anything about tanks. Thank you. And then we do this giant pullout, which eventually reveals to us that we are on a floating island that is man-made, which is kind of fucking crazy and also super awesome. And then we get the OP, which is pretty cute. Now, the things that are missed in this skip through, as I just jump through the thing, a bunch of instances of really cute character animation, lots of hair going around, lots of little moments that didn't have to be as well animated as they necessarily were. Little clever things like the match cut at 10:35. The emotion dots in the eyes are cool and I think useful, and I like to see them. All right, that's pretty much it. I like the characters so far. I like the inherent conflict between some of the characters so far. There isn't a lot yet. Mostly we're focused on our main girl and her journey into accepting that she will be doing this on the Senchado. Now, let's turn our attention to what I think is probably the most important part of this episode, which is grab the user's attention right off the get-go and get them interested in the core concept. There are girls, they're riding tanks. Guess what? It's not stupid, it's cool, okay? That's what you have to convince your audience of, and you've got minutes to do it, because if they see tanks and they look like shit, they're going to drop. If they see girls and they look like shit, they're going to drop. If they don't care about the characters, they're going to drop. If they don't know what's going on, they're going to drop. So we've got to express what's going on, that tanks are cool, that the girls are cool, that the girls are cute. You got to get all of it real fast. So how do we do that? Brilliance. We put ourselves in the POV of the tank to start. And that means that there's... How do I put this? There's a moment of oh from this static shot to the moment when it starts moving. And we realize that we are dynamic, that the camera is moving with us, that we are along for the ride, that we are part of the action, not watching it from on high. There's a moment where this particular shot reveals itself to be part of a wider landscape that we can actually traverse and negotiate, that makes the brain of the viewer go, oh, let's look at that moment. Because it takes a little while. It's slow to ease us in. The tanks are very slowly scrolling past. We converse about them a little bit, demonstrating that our characters are invested in this and interested in this, but we don't see our characters on screen, and we don't know where they are, and we don't know what they're talking about, really. We can see what they're talking about, but we don't know where they are or what they're planning. And then they appear over the hill. And the animation that we get is vibrant and lively and cute. There's character and expression in every action that they take as they move up. As they're running, the first real facial expressions that we get occur about there. She's smiling, happy about this. She's running and she's got her like chestnut mouth, open mouth type thing going on. Her smile fades and turns into a bit of a softer smile, and then struggle as she tries to do something at the front of the tank. And then immediately morphs into something else as she clambers up. It's all fluid. It's all intentional. It's all cute. The characters are cool looking. And there's a rush. Suddenly, we're in it. We're going. Let's go. And then the moment happens. We all climb aboard and we discover that our POV is not the POV of a character sitting within the tank. It is the POV of the tank itself. And it moves. And it turns and we get a taste of what tank-on-tank combat can really be. The tanks look pretty fucking good. The whole environment looks pretty fucking good. Once they start moving at speed, you can sort of see where the polygons are linked together as we're moving. You can sort of see how the environment is built in the same way that you can see it when you play a video game. And run around on the mountains. It's like, all right, this is a flat patch and this is a flat patch, and they're all just morphed together in order to make a reasonable facsimile of an environment or terrain. But it looks really good. You can nitpick it. You can pick out details that are a little bit off if you want to, but there's no reason to. The tanks all look great. This spinning shot is awesome. And those are all 2D animated characters moving around it. Although there are some cuts when they're moving quickly that they are CG models instead. Can't tell. Probably CG models. But it looks amazing. It looks really good. And more than that, it's exciting. It checks off all those boxes that I was talking about. Introduce a couple characters. Get us inside their shoes, very literally. Show us what tank battle can be like so that we can look forward to it, because we don't have time to really get to it in this episode. Get us invested. Get us excited to see this again. Get us excited for our characters to get to the point where they can do this in the first place, right? It's awesome. It's actually really cool. The way the tanks move in formation is neat. The way we fly through here with the explosions going. Honestly, it reminds me of one thing and one thing only, and that is, if you've seen Shirobako, there's an episode about CG versus 2D, specifically on explosions. So there's a CG artist who's or a CG animator who's trying to make like a mock-up for an explosive sequence where I think it's a girl on a motorcycle with a sidecar is like bouncing around through all these crazy explosions going. And there's a 2D animator who feels like letting 3D animators do cuts like that is a problem, that his effort to make himself really good at the 2D stuff is wasted and stupid, and it doesn't look the same. It doesn't have the same impact. And eventually they learn to like blend the gap. But the cut that they end up working on is pretty reminiscent of this one, with some crazy camera work going on and big explosions changing the course and trajectory of the focus of the cut of the segment. It's very similar in some ways. I just wanted to point that out because it does look good in CG and it does have an impact. It's pretty cool. Okay, and then it leaves us on a tense moment and brings us into the main story. Boom, we wake up. And that's the whole thing. At first I thought maybe she was injured, but no, this is before the events that we just saw, so that was a flashback, or a flash forward. All in all, I think this was a really well put together first episode. I think it did everything that a first episode needs to do, and it has effectively made me excited for Girls in Panzer. This is cool. I didn't expect it to be this cool, but it's pretty fucking cool. I like it. I think that's a wrap. Yeah, so 1 down, 1 to go. No reason to drop the one that I've seen. This was good. Me Teeaboo, this girl's in Panzer. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope to catch you next week when we watch another episode or two. I don't know. Yeah, if you want next week's a little bit early, check out the Patreon. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.